This is Business Therapy, healing businesses from the inside out through communication and emotional understanding. I'm Diane Hansen, communications consultant and management consultant, and with me is Christine Salvo, therapist, certified mediator, and certified hypnotist.
Hello. So happy to have you guys this morning. So today we have a lovely guest. I'm so excited. Marty Ocean Eagle. Marty is an author, a teacher, and a business owner. And today he's going to talk to us about bringing consciousness into business.
Yeah.
So welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. I'm so humbled and honored to be here with you guys and see what wisdom and magic we can bring out here.
Absolutely. And Marty is joining us on the phone from where?
Currently in Vancouver, Washington, right on the other side of the border from Portland. And I'm going to Toronto next from here, Toronto. So, yeah.
So are you traveling or are you on tour?
I'm traveling currently. I'm following spirit right now. This thing continues to open up and unfold for me. So I'm here working on potential. It's interesting. It'll tie in with the side of things, but it's working on the masculine and the feminine movement and balancing the masculine and the feminine, which is so lacking in the business world as well these days. So, and then I'm going to actually be meeting in Toronto with. He's authored 20 books. He's got countless albums out. He's a Canadian musician named Michel Pascal, and he's known as the Music Voice. And he and I have a one-on-one. He's granted me some one-on-one time. He's got a couple of events coming out. He just got out of the studio this week with Deepak Chopra. He's making a movie with him. And he and I are going to sit down this weekend in Toronto. We're going to have some one-on-one time. And I'm going to a couple of his events he's got Friday and Saturday night there.
That's amazing. So consciousness in business, that is the topic of the day. And it's an area where people often lose consciousness is in the day-to-day work environment. So where have you experienced a loss of consciousness in business and what have you done to bring it back around to awareness?
Oh man, what a wide scope that is. So interesting as I'm writing a book right now. One of the things, some of the notes that I just wrote was about consciousness in corporate America, and I do a lot of work on the internal healing of myself and help guide others to internal wellness and internal healing. It's all about the consciousness and awareness of the planet and the people on the planet. I actually would like to see a screening in place for corporate America. People that are put in positions of power, people put in positions of decision making that are going to affect our world and people in the world. I think they should be screened to see if they've got what kind of emotional wounding they have, what kind of childhood they came from, if they've done any work on it. Because to me, most of the people run around the program to work off the bottom line. And if we can somehow get a better concept of what we're really here for and to really take care of this earth that feeds us and takes care of us, and to really have a consciousness for the people in the corporate world. They make decisions based on bottom lines, and when they make those decisions based on bottom lines, they make massive stating decisions that affect the world. And it's a heck of a lot cheaper to go make a right decision and pay a little more for a project to be done right than it is to pay $800 million to go clean up an oil spill because you took a shortcut. But you got the immediate decision trying to make the immediate bottom line, and I just people make more money by doing it than buying Creator. What if you are God?
Yeah, there's a lot of social responsibility movements going on within corporate America right now, and needing to have that. And a lot of annual plans have social responsibility, basically line items that they have to report to. And there's a lot of confusion about, well, what does that mean? Does that mean social responsibility is we're donating to a charity once a quarter? What does that directive actually mean? And how do you execute that directive to, not only enhance the company, but use the company's power to improve the planet?
Well, and really what I was hearing from Marty with that, I love that, the social responsibility piece and taking a look at what are the short-term benefits to cutting corners to the long-term costs, right? But not only that, but I love this idea of screening management and trying to understand their traumas, their histories, their coping skills, and what they're going to. Because when I really think about business, there's kind of a famous saying, business doesn't have emotions. And all of a sudden, all these people, because we're all people running these businesses, but we abandon our humanity and we go straight towards this, like, I'm callous, I'm neutral, and I just do what I need to do. And I think that that's also gotten so many people in psychological and emotional trouble, not even to mention the spiritual consequences. Do you agree with that, Marty?
I think on a core level, if we really go back to this, really all starts in our children. It starts at a very young age in teaching people consciousness and for humanity, for the world, and bringing them up properly, in an environment. The children will lead us to the future. They're the ones. That's why I'm a part of this Union 2050 Global Meditation for Children movement. I'm the American ambassador for that movement. And I think if we start back at a core level and a childhood level and really start teaching our children, because trying to reach some of these adults that are so wounded and damaged and programmed and try to change them, midway or late in life, it's tough. They don't want, they're so programmed and stuck. I really think it starts with a movement with children. And of course, we need the social awareness around, whatever movement in local communities and in the world community to help bring social wellness as well. But to me, it all starts in the home with the parents, with the children. We have so many broken parents. We have so many broken children that just don't even know how to they're brought up to teach and taught that everything on the external can fix you. And it's all about the inside,
Right, absolutely. And that is absolutely a paradigm shift for business because it's all about external outcomes. It's all about this process leads to this outcome. And if it doesn't lead to this outcome, why? Versus really what we focus on in the show is the communication side of things, the side of things where people are actually learning how to connect with people and be better leaders and be better followers to expand that consciousness of, wow, here's where my 2 feet are planted today, and this is what I need to do to not just get the job done, but to get the job done and not be a mess at the end of the day.
Well, we've lost the sense of community, right? We really have lost the sense of working together as a group, as a team, working together as a neighborhood. Everybody goes in, they drive into their houses and they shut their garage doors and nobody communicates anymore. They go hop on their computers. They're on social media. Before May, I had never had Facebook. I had never tweeted. I had never Instagrammed. I had never read a blog. I had never listened to a podcast. And that was 50 years of my life. I'd never done any of that stuff. And being unplugged from all of that stuff is really important to ground people and learn how to talk. And people just don't understand how to communicate anymore. And they're also programmed, and they're also stuck in their phones, and they're also stuck on all the social media. And it is a good medium. We need it, but when it's used for the right reasons.
Right. In past shows, we've talked about utilizing email too much, utilizing text too much, utilizing these electronic methods so much that we don't just sit down with each other and have a stand-up meeting. And I think what's happened to meetings in general is they've gotten a really bad rap because meetings stretch and they're long and people try to cover too much in too short a time and they lose their intentionality. And they lose their focus and they lose their consciousness. So then people don't want to do it because I need to go do my job. But a lot can be accomplished with a quick 15 to 30 minute stand up and away you go. But because we lose consciousness when we're all together and we're not used to being in a conscious space when we are together, the meeting goes off the rails, the agenda gets thrown out the window, and all of a sudden that we're talking on a tangent that half the people in the room have nothing to do with.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
And so
Oh,
people get afraid of
absolutely.
communication.
I remember when I was in real estate, and we used to have our Wednesday, team meetings. Now, keep in mind, real estate agents are 1099, independent contractors, right? And they would get us all together. It was a big company at that, but it was 150 agents. They would require us all to go in on a Wednesday, have this meeting, and talk about how we're kind of down for the month. And I'm like, and then they'd make us all go get in cars and do this office tour. And we'd have to go drive around to all these houses that all these other agents had listed to do a dog and pony show for the people selling their homes, when none of the agents had buyers for those homes, and I always hated that meeting.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's a we're doing something meeting.
Right.
Like we have this problem. We have to prove to our bosses that we are doing something. And, being conscious around the actual outcomes that you're looking for these meetings. If you're doing a stand-up meeting, what is the production from this meeting? If you're doing, if you're doing a meeting like that, it seemed to me like that was more of a punitive meeting where your punishment is you have to do this.
I sold 6 houses this month. I don't know what you guys are all complaining about.
Right.
It's like, I don't need to be here, and I don't have a buyer for any of these 8 houses we're going to look at.
No. See, you're going to be punished because you didn't lift your team up. Oh, Marty, you were so good by yourself, but why weren't you helping the rest of the team if you were doing so well and producing so well?
Well, maybe I would do more if you would send my 1099 to them instead of to me.
Exactly. So we lose consciousness completely in business, and that's where losing consciousness equals chaos.
I think companies and corporations should have mandatory 30 minutes of quiet time every day. I think they should meditate. If you could bring meditation into the workplace, if you could get people to sit down for 10 minutes and just be quiet and play something, just something very, not religious or anything, just something that would get people just to be quiet and be still for a little bit. Phones aren't allowed, and just, if you could get 20 people in a meeting room to sit for 10 minutes, they're going to get really difficult because they're not used to being quiet and shutting their brains down. The busier I get getting quieter, the better I am.
Oh, I love how you just put that.
The busier I get getting quieter, the better I am. And we all get so focused and driven on the monkey brain thoughts that if we just get people in the workplace to just be still for a little bit, get out in front of their screens, and just go get in a room, turn the lights down a little bit, spend 10 minutes, just drop out. I think a workplace, the meeting would go better. Everybody would get centered and get focused real quick, those that could shut their minds down.
So what would you say, I love where you're going with this. What do you think the change would be ultimately? And kind of what's your own story of going from, business owner and kind of if you wanted to explain the monkey brain a little bit more, and then really looking like what has changed your life? Where are you going now?
Oh my gosh.
There's a lot in there, I know.
That's such a loaded question right now. It's first thing for me is like, I was so driven. I had so many balls up in the air, I've been a business owner. I still own the business. I had a real estate company, and I've had a lot of agents work under me at one time. And then I've been an entrepreneur as well. And I've remodeled and flipped over 340 houses to date. And I do that sparingly now. What I focus on now is the inner journey. And for the last 4 years, I had a lot of trauma, a lot of abuse, a lot of abandonment, a lot of neglect in my childhood. Not a picture perfect childhood by any stretch of the imagination. But for me, the inner journey has opened up so many more portals of opportunities and things that I never thought of. So if I had made a plan 5 years ago, if I had made a plan 1 year ago, I am nothing like I would have written down on a sheet of paper. So for me, a lot of people are planners and they want to have a focus. And I really, honestly, today, I live in the nothingness of the unknowing. And I really just focus on being as good a human being as I can. I've created a little bit of passive income for myself so I can afford to go down this road. But I wasn't an author. I never wanted to write, and then all of a sudden I started having these feelings I need to write something, and then I had an opportunity to write, and now I've got a whole other book coming out of me on top of the one that's on Amazon right now, and I'm just amazed at what shows up when you really do the work on the inside to transmute all of that heaviness that happened in childhood, stuff that you caused to be in your life, the failed relationships, the failed marriage, all the stuff that you kept doing to try to fix yourself, and then nothing on the outside ever fixed me. So for me, the journey has been an inward turn, always an inward turn. And it's been about ownership of everything that's happened in my life, even ownership of the negative feelings I was given to my childhood traumas. I had a part in that. I was feeding the beast still. I had all my energy trapped in that. And once I cut the cords on all that stuff, it has blown me open to be bigger than I ever thought. I think all of us have a purpose. We all have a reason. We all have an essence. And when we can figure that out and we can do that, then we'll be overpaid no matter how much money we make.
Oh, that was I love your one-liners. They're so good.
We'll be overpaid no matter how much money we make.
That is
and
beautiful.
The money, so when we align with, I know there's atheists out there and stuff, but when we align with the creator, God, divine, Shakti energy, the feminine, masculine, the divine mother, divine father, whatever you want to call it. When we align our will with that and we're serving this planet and we're serving these people in whatever we're doing, whatever job we're doing, when we're putting that first, I think we're all going to be blessed beyond measure. We won't have to even think about it. I think that's the way I feel about things today after all that I've been through. And because I've had all the money, I've had the big houses, I've had that stuff, and none of that ever made me happy because I've been aligned with my soul's purpose.
Right.
And now that I know what it is, and then I've surrendered and accepted it, and I walk it every day, no matter what. I don't care what people think about me. All of a sudden, people come into my field and into my life that just want to blow wind underneath my wings and help me ascend. I don't have to think about it. It just happens. It's kind of like the secret of the law of attraction or, intentional living.
Yeah.
It really is, it's true. And a lot of people in corporate America and in business, they really want to try to choke a dollar out of this world, and you don't have to choke it.
Right.
You don't.
Right. It can just flow.
Yeah, just like water,
Yeah.
man. I no longer do I try to bash my head against a stone in front of me. I just flow around it, man. It's like, it's a pretty stone.
So I'm really curious about just this
Mm-hmm.
idea that exists in companies, and small businesses don't really have a problem with this. But once you get to being a larger company, there's almost a stigma behind spirituality in the workplace. What are your, experiences with that? Have you experienced that? What have your workarounds been to, kind of de-wooing the woo-woo?
I know. It's like, that's such a, what's called, say woo-woo. It's like, that's a really weird word. And I'm like, woo-woo. It's like, okay. So a lot of people in the spiritual world, like my good friend Linda Starwolf, she kind of hid, that she was, a shaman or she was in the spiritual world. And now it's interesting that it's all coming out in the open a little more. And it's like, my good friend Linda Starwolf was, she was always afraid of telling people she was a shaman because persecuted. And I just think the whole spiritual world and shamanism is being more accepted. And I think that as we continue to open people more to it, that it's going to be more accepted. And it doesn't. The stigmatism behind it is like all of a sudden America jumps on the word shaman, and as soon as you work like that, I'm not a shaman. I do shamanic stuff. I'm not a shaman. As soon as you do that, they automatically think you're doing plant medicine and ayahuasca and all this stuff. And it's like, it's about a higher level of consciousness. It's really about stepping out of my podcast coming out is going to be called An Unprogrammed Life. And it's about unprogramming everything we thought we knew. Do we really have any of our thoughts that are really our original thoughts, or are they all just programmed thoughts? And I think that's what we got to do. We got to unprogram the brain so people can start thinking for themselves and start making their own decisions and bringing that into corporate world. It's not about being spiritual. Isn't about magic and just shaking a rattle around. It's really about getting in tune with who you are and who you are meant to be, not what the world told you should be, but who you're meant to be.
What would be some advice you would have for a leader who is listening to this radio show this morning, who would like to bring meditation into their company, but isn't quite sure how to approach it?
Well, there's bigger names out there that are bringing that stuff into corporate America, like people like Deepak Chopra and Joe Dispenza. And there are different spins on it. Joe Dispenza is more in the quantum physics realm of things, but he's still, his teachings from what I read a little bit is about heart-centered, living and how it ties into the neurology of the brain. And then Deepak does his form of meditation. So I think there's movements, places out there that you can go to bring this into your company, but not everybody's going to be open to it. You can't I don't know if you can force people to meditate, but
forced meditation.
Oh boy!
But we just had
bring out the Kool-Aid.
We just had a million children in Korea all sit down and meditate for world peace. If we can, I believe in vibration. I believe we're all vibrational energy, and I believe if we can get enough people to really, really change their vibration and really get out of the programming. I really think if somebody running a company, a corporate company, can really look at the programming that's in there, and if you can hire people within the company, not based on a bottom line, but on their character and on who they are as human beings in this world, we're going to be a lot better, because you go hire somebody that's just going to boost your bottom line and they're not spiritually fit or, religiously fit, whatever, if they're just not healthy and mentally and spiritually.
Well, in business, we call it integrity.
They're not, no integrity, right? Well, they're just going to every time the bottom line's not made, they're going to shove it down on the employees beneath them, because they're just going to shove it down the stream. It's like, not my fault. All these people aren't doing their job. And I think if you have people, employers and managers and CEOs in a position to where they're really putting the people of the company first, the company is going to flourish.
I agree with that.
It's gonna flourish, and all they focus on is on the bottom line. And then the social stuff that they do to try to make themselves look better as corporations, make donations to certain. I'm sure a lot of it's with good intent. I know of a lot of it's also because they need write-offs, and then they try to put it in a position and it's going to make them look as good as they can. And that's a general statement. It's not all like that, but I do know that I don't know. I have wisdom behind some of this. I don't like saying I know anything. I only like coming from a place of wisdom, which means I've got experience behind it. The employees that I've kept all these years that have been with me have stayed with me because I treat them well. And I think if we just treat each other with kindness, I think we need to treat our business with kindness, and we need to treat the planet with kindness. It's all from a place, and we run things from a heart center instead of a brain center, because these days everything goes, all the information comes through my brain into my heart and into my chest. And then my heart tells my brain how to act, not my brain telling my heart how to feel anymore. So it's all reversed, and I think we need to bring that into business.
Wonderful.
Yeah, that was excellent. That was excellent. I think you answered our questions, and hopefully our listeners got a lot out of that. I think you did bring a lot of heart-centered wisdom and personal experience, and I loved how vulnerable you were with, being so open about your life and your past and things that have happened and where you are now.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. Well, it's vulnerability and authenticity will bring people together. I've watched it happen for me every day. The
Absolutely.
more vulnerable I am, the more authentic I am, the more I make connections with people all around the world right now.
Sounds like a topic for another show. I think we'd love to have you back on.
Perfect. I'd love to come back on. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. It's been great having you.
Yeah, you're so welcome. Bless you both. And if I can do anything for you ever in the future, I'm here for you.
Absolutely.
Excellent. Thank you so much,
All right.
Marty.
All right, guys. All right. Thanks now. Bye now.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
This has been Business Therapy, healing businesses from the inside out. I hope you enjoy that uplifting conversation this morning. I know I did.
I sure did.
Have a great morning.
Have a wonderful day.